Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you find us today. My name is Daniel Futrell from Stratos Pulse, and as part of our Future of Travel Marketing, we are delighted today to be joined by Mareen, better known as Miss Everywhere, the renowned travel influencer with over 1 million Instagram followers and having spent her early career after studying in hospitality management, she embarked on a travel influencer career, which, as the name suggests, Miss Everywhere, there's barely a scrap of the planet which she's not explored. So, Mareen, thank you very much for joining us today. Good to see you. And where are you tuning in to us from?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm joining you guys from Mykonos, currently in Greece, enjoying the summer sun here in Greece, and it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm here working on some jobs with hotels, and yeah.
Fantastic. Well, just if we may start where it all began, Mareen, where just tell us a bit about what inspired your journey into travel influencers.
So basically, by the time I started the whole career path, it wasn't a career at that time. I started, I think, 10 years ago now this year. And back then, even the word influencer didn't exist yet. And I was in the corporate life and did a trainee program and then quit that job. And a friend of mine, she kind of convinced me to join Instagram. And she was like, you always traveling, you should just get on the platform. And yeah, I did that. And funny enough, I was the last ones of my friends who actually had Instagram because it's like, no, such a self demonstrating platform. I'm not going to join this. And now it's my job. See how it can go in life. But yeah, so then I think it took like maybe 6 months until I had like, I think 10,000 followers or something, which back then was a lot. And yeah, I think I was just lucky that I put myself on this platform at the right time, let's say when the platform grew into what it is today, because also Instagram was just in the starting phases, let's say, and there, like I said, there were no influencers, the job didn't exist. So it was more like I put photos, I uploaded content of what I love doing, traveling and hotels. And within time, then it started to become that brands reached out, hotels reached out, airlines reached out. Hey, we've seen your profile. Can we work together? And then it became this thing. So now, obviously, you have a lot of influencers, let's say, and it became a whole thing. But back then, I remember one of my first trips. Uh, it was it was a trip for the embassy of a country, and it was a media trip, and there were, I think, 100 journalists, and I was the only one from Instagram. And people asked me, the journalists were like, you're taking photos for what? Instagram? And that's why you're here, that's why they invite you. So it was completely new marketing channel at that time to basically advertise hospitality and tourism on the app, basically. Yeah, so that was how it started.
Fantastic. And as I mentioned earlier, you were studying in hospitality before you embarked on your journey. How did you find that helped in starting out in travel influencing?
So yeah, I did my bachelor's at a hospitality management school, but I did marketing there. And then I did a master's degree also in international management later on in London. And I think I believe in the universe, and I think it works in very mysterious, powerful ways. So it's funny somehow how you end up with all your passions. And luckily, I was able to create a job out of this. And I think in the beginning it didn't help me so much, but I think down the line to have that knowledge of hospitality management helps me a lot to assess a place, especially a hotel, and because my niche is luxury hotels. So to really see you know, in which way you can recommend a place or not, or if they're at a certain standard and for who it's suitable. So I think in that way it helps a lot to have this background knowledge of hospitality management and how basically you manage a property. Yeah.
Great. Okay. And in some of those luxury destinations that you've been to in your career, what you say is some of the most memorable experiences you've had while traveling?
I think there's so many in 10 years. If you just talk about purely the places, obviously there's so many different amazing hotels and trips. And is it a beach destination, something like Seychelles or a safari? I think we are very lucky to live on a planet that is that beautiful and that we are living here now, where we all have the possibility to just jump on a flight and go somewhere, which I don't know if you think our grandparents, for example, they didn't have that possibility. So I think there's so many, I couldn't name one. Actually, I think one place that really impacted me has been Maldives. It's my absolute favorite destination. I think it's amazing in hospitality what what they're doing there, the concepts. There's, I think, currently 135 five-star hotels and always new concepts. And obviously, the nature is beautiful. You have everything around. But besides really the places itself, it's, I think, really the people and the memories you make, right? I think that's the beauty of this of traveling. It's not just the place, it's not just the hotel or the trip. It's also obviously the company you're going with, and then the memories you make and all the people you meet along the way, especially when you go to so many countries. You you are thrown into situations that are very different from where you are from. And I think
Mhm.
it makes you very compassionate for other cultures, for other people, for other life situations. I think that's a beautiful thing. From my memories, there's so many memories I have where I met people and heard their stories, how they grew up or where they lived, and that really impacted me also. I think how it shapes your view, how you see life.
Well, I think your passion for travel and sort of those experiences really comes through. I was wondering, how do you balance that enjoying the moment and really taking in that mindful experience of traveling, but how do you balance it with capturing that content which you end up putting onto your platforms as well?
Well, so for me, it was always a priority to really live the moment. And I think that's something that maybe changed in the industry a little bit, because back then, like I said, there were no influencers, it wasn't existing. It was more you were at a nice place and you saw a beautiful sunset and you captured it and then you uploaded it without really thinking much. And somehow I kept it the same way. I'm still the same. Like I post whenever I want to post. I don't have agenda. It always worked somehow for me this way. I think because people see that way that it's real somehow. It's not planned or strategic. It's just more when you feel like it's you post. Obviously now when you have jobs that's a little bit different, but it's still a priority to enjoy the moment. I have a promise to myself, and all my friends know that I will never capture a fake sunset, a fake experience. And I think that's something that nowadays you see a lot on Instagram. Wherever you go, there's people, they have a bag, they have a 500 outfits. They just want to recreate that moment that they've seen on Instagram, but they don't actually have that moment. They don't actually sit there with their friends and it's a beautiful dinner that they take a photo of, then as a memory, let's say. It's unfortunately a little bit the downside maybe of Instagram, very produced now. So I try to keep it like I always did it, even when I have jobs, that I enjoy the moment and then I do the content, and I'm kind of routine, let's say, in how I do my content, and then to also have that enjoying part. I told myself I will never portray an experience that I didn't really have just for the sake of it or for the photo or the video because it's beautiful. It's more, and I think that's in the end because it's authentic. I think that's what works on Instagram because people see that you're not trying anything or you're not trying too hard. You just do it because you like it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The authenticity is vital, I think, for that. So, I mean, with those, as I mentioned, 1 million Instagram followers, The pictures which are on your Instagram is what we'd see there, what your audience would consume in there. But I was wondering what are some of the challenges which maybe people don't realize that a travel influencer like yourself faces in balancing your trips and your travels.
Challenges, I think, flight connections. And I think the challenges is really, it depends what type of person you are, but you have to be aware that when you're traveling full time, that you will not be there at every birthday of a family member, things like that. And then also it can be very stressful if you have a lot of jobs. I remember before COVID, there were some months where it was absolutely crazy. You had 2-day flight somewhere, and then the next day completely to a different continent and then back. So now it became a little bit more relaxed with the timing. So I think a challenge is really to navigate between that, between your also your personal life and your family, and to basically make priorities. Plus,
Mhm.
yeah, manage trying to find good flights, not in the middle of the night, because people always think it looks so glamorous, let's say, on Instagram, but very often when you're traveling in Philippines and you want to get to that island, and it's very you're on a small tiny boat and it's a rough sea, it's anything but glamorous.
Yeah. I can imagine. And in some of those places, how have you said would you say that the travel has influenced your perspective on life and different cultures? Like you say, you've seen so many different cultures across the world. How has that sort of broad perspective changed you as a person?
I think it makes you very humble to life, and like I said, very compassionate to a lot of different situations, and very adaptable to it, because when you go to a country that is far from yours, then you are the person who's not from that country. And, then you have to fit in, and you have to yeah, to basically adapt to the new situation, whatever it is. So I think it's really the compassion, and that you really get to learn how to be humble um, in other cultures. Yeah.
As you say, you were one of the pioneers of travel influencer when there was, like say, not a profession behind it as such. What advice would you give to someone who was looking to get into travel influencing today?
So I think nowadays the market is very saturated. If someone really wants to do it, I would always tell someone go for it if it's really your dream. But I think now it's way harder on Instagram also to build a following, because the algorithm change constantly, and there's obviously a lot more people doing it. And I think one of the biggest things is to ask yourself why you want to get into it, because I think a lot of people now, they maybe start the jobs because they see they have a specific benefits. Let's say they can travel, obviously, but I think you will only be good in something if you really enjoy the work. If I just want to go on a free trip, I will never be good as a travel influencer, because it requires a lot more than going to a place and having zipping a nice drink by the pool. That's not really what the job is. You need to really love photography, videography, camera work in front and behind, have a vision, and um, try to like making concepts for brands and companies, or create content. If obviously everybody loves traveling, everybody loves that, but that doesn't, I tell you, most of the people I know, they wouldn't like this job, because you really need to have a passion for the work itself, and I think only then you will be really good at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you manage your travel schedule and ensure you stay healthy on the road? I'm sure that can be a challenge when, as you mentioned, with the travel schedules that you face. How do you try and make sure you're looking after yourself on the road?
So I try to eat healthy. I try to sleep a lot. and I try to take in between times. What I mean with this is that I don't do too crazy flight schedules. I try to pay a little bit attention to that, and yeah, just overall stay healthy. Sleep a lot, eat good nutrition food, which can be a challenge because when you're constantly in hotels, obviously you want to try everything. But which obviously is the beauty of traveling, right? You want to travel and we want to try everything. But I just mean it for people who go on a vacation, it's their vacation. But when you live in the vacation, kind of, and you're constantly traveling, you need to still make a Sunday, even if you're in a nice place, and maybe just stay home and do nothing or watch a movie and treat yourself, because other people, they go home and then they go to work. When you're traveling, you're kind of constantly on the go. So I think it's important to take your reset times to recharge, to really have a good energy with yourself, besides the food part, besides the sleep part and all of this. But just, I think the mindset and the energy is important, that you have a good positive mindset on things.
Yeah. Are there any locations that you wouldn't travel to?
No, I think I'm a very curious person, and I have only made good experiences wherever I went. So whenever someone tells me, "Oh, do you really want to go there because it's dangerous?" I say, for me, it's dangerous to not risk anything or to not live your life, because really I haven't been to any place, even though maybe it's considered dangerous. I cannot think of a situation that I had that was dangerous, because um, wherever I traveled, I met amazing people, and I think that, yeah, the most dangerous worldview is coming from people who haven't traveled to specific places. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Just bringing it a bit closer to home, where I am, at least in Dubai, because our events are focused Middle East wide, and I know that you are very familiar with Dubai. You're in and out of the Emirate a lot, but having grown into a top tier destination in its own right in a fairly short time, the country obviously is only just over 50 years old. What do you see as some of the unique selling points that Dubai has as a tourist destination?
Oh, I think Dubai is one of the top destinations now in the world. I think, first of all, what they have for them is, of course, the weather. Especially for Europeans. The geographical location is amazing. From Europe, uh, 6-hour flight, you're there, you have sun. The whole development in the entire city is amazing. Every time you're coming there, there's something new, a new building, a new experience. I think they are doing an amazing job with building the city and what they're planning to do. And you have all the paradise places close. You can fly to Asia, you can fly to Maldives, Seychelles. It's all really close. And another thing that I love about Dubai is actually that it's so safe, super safe destination, and also um, that so many different cultures live together in peace there. I think that's something that other countries really can learn something from. That everybody there is really respectful towards each other, and I think what Dubai makes amazing is that they make everyone feel welcome, no matter where you're from. It's a place you can come there, you can start your business there, you can find a job there, and I think they're really doing a good job in making people feel that they have a lot of opportunities in the city that they can use for their career or something. And basically to build their life. I think people moving to Dubai or living in Dubai, they have a very good life. And that's the intention of Dubai. And I think that you feel that there. And that's also the reason why a lot of people now moving to Dubai, because they have all those amazing opportunities there.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you came to Dubai at all?
Yeah, I think it was 10 years ago. It was so different. It was
Yeah.
so different. a lot of the buildings were not there, and but still it was the start of it, and it was I think compared to 10 years ago and now, it became a lot more westernized. And obviously, 90% of people in Dubai are expats. And you can feel that it's really, it's the Middle East, but it's still very open-minded, I think, for people who live there. And the, it's, yeah, I think it's a great place to be.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned there obviously the pace of change in Dubai and the Middle East as a developing area in its infancy as a country. So looking a little further away, but again, one which is one of the most exciting tourist destinations up and coming in Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Changed considerably in the past few years, and with the massive giga projects which are in the pipeline to be completed in the part of the Saudi 2030 vision. How exciting are those developments for you in KSA, and how excited are you at the prospect of going to visit them when they're complete?
I'm very excited about Saudi and the developments. I think eh, they're taking it to the next level. They're building all these. I've seen some renderings of what they're doing with even not only hotels and new destinations that they're building, like the Red Sea, for example, which is basically their own kind of Maldives that they're building and already started. There's the um, St. Regis opened, Six Senses opened, beautiful projects. And I was in the ITB, the biggest travel tourism trade fair in Berlin, and they were actually the host of the trade fair, Saudi Arabia. And when you entered the hall, out of all the halls from all of the country, they really nailed it. Like just visiting this hall, you can see how much dedication and how much budgets are being put into developing Saudi as a new destination, which will probably take a few years. Um, but they already started and it already exists. I mean, the Red Sea is already, you can already go there. Al Ula also is another destination that is like very unique. And I think it's a country, it's a destination with a lot of potential, with everything they're building there to in a whole new market, because it's still also very different than Dubai. And I think they can cultivate that very well and create something amazing there. And it will be very interesting for people to go, for tourists to go once they understand more about Saudi and what they're planning to do there.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, such an exciting place, and like you say, it's
Yeah.
still got its USPs away from Dubai, and so yeah, it's yeah, going to be interesting to see how they both look in another 10 years. Like you say, the rate of progress
Yeah.
and change in Dubai, and to see the progress and change. I think in our first original call, I explained when I first went to Riyadh 15 years ago compared to now, it's a world away. So yeah, very exciting to see what happens there. Just on those points, and obviously with countries like Saudi Arabia, and are there, what would you say are some of the are there any cultural and religious factors that you consider when posting your content in Middle East countries or other conservative, sort of traditionally conservative countries? Is that something that you sort of factor in when you're choosing what content to play to put in your posts?
I mean, I don't change my content regarding to any religious place I'm in or not, because it's kind of irrelevant for my content, because the things I post and the platform that I have, it's for people from everywhere. So I have a following from all around, and it's usually everything religious or political. I try to stay it out because you have. I try to not address it because my Instagram is more like a light dose of happiness. I call it. It's like a light dose of travel inspiration, and I want to keep it that way on purpose. So I never really open debates about religious or political things on my Instagram because I don't think it's the place for that. And I'm very grateful for the community that I've built there and that they love that. They really the number one question I get on Instagram, it's really about the places I go and people want to book it. And I see it, there's like a high return of transactions in terms of people actually booking the places, and they're like, hey, this and this is our budget. We want to go on a on a honeymoon. Where can we go? You know, and I try to help them because only because of the people watching me, I can do my job. So I try to take the time and help them in that. And yeah, so it's really, my Instagram is a place for everybody, and no matter what religion or political background someone supports or is from, they're welcome.
Absolutely. And just in conclusion, tell us a little bit about your future travel plans. Where next for you, and are there any sort of new projects which you're particularly excited about coming up?
Well, now I'm in Greece, and then I will also go. One of the next trips I'm excited about is going to be Oman, because I haven't been in Oman, and I think it's I think it's nice to explore destinations that are a little bit not so oversaturated yet on Instagram. So yeah, there's a lot of new destinations and hidden destinations in those areas where I think you can create beautiful content, and it's one of the places where it's not where everybody goes. You know, I like to go a little bit also and find new places and show new places to people, and so that the people find a value in something new, or that they get a new inspiration besides the typical places you see on Instagram a lot.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Mareen, Miss Everywhere. Really appreciate your time and fascinating insights on your journey as a travel influencer. We look forward to seeing you passing through Dubai next time, and hopefully at one of our events in the future on our travel marketing side.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I hope I see you soon.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.